Hello crochet crafters. Today I am making a sheep potholder, and this is part 2 series of the potholder. And I'm not going to go over the equipment list because we did that with the first part of the face of the sheep. And what we're going to do now is cast on our white. And the way that I cast on mine white is I take a front and back loop, I wrap the yarn and I hold it tight between my fingers and I pull it through, and then I wrap around. Now I'm wrapping around what's called the tail end of my yarn, but it's counting as one loop. So if I can, I'm going to work this extra yarn into my work. If I can't, I can either sew it in or cut it off, but hopefully I can work it in. So when we left off at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have to add some stitches in order to keep this flat. Now on series 1, I turned my work over and did a single to give it this nice edge, and that's okay, but we need to pick up where we left off with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to go to the 7, a single, a single, a single, a single, and then 6 and 7 are going to be 2 singles in the same stitch. So go ahead and place a place marker here, stitch marker if you need it. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to work in the same stitch, because remember, this doesn't count as a stitch. So I'm going to work a single stitch back into that, working my tail, and that's considered my first stitch. That's stitch 1. And I did a pretty good job of working the tail in. So the next one is 2 stitches, 3 stitches, 4 stitches, 5 stitches, 6 stitches, and then that 7th stitch is going to go into that same loop. So you can see number 7 went into that same stitch. And please be sure you're grabbing all of your yarn and you're working your stitches evenly, because this is definitely going to show on your potholder where you're transitioning from black to white. It really does show up. So we've gone ahead and done that first 7 stitches. Now we're going to do a 2-1 in the stitch, a 2-2 in the next stitch, 2-3 goes in the next stitch, 2-4 goes in the next stitch, 2-5 goes in the next stitch, and then I'm going to put 2-6 and 2-7 in the same stitch, and then 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, 3-4, 3-5, 3-6, and 3-7 go where? In the same stitch. 4-1 goes in the next stitch, 4-2 goes in the next stitch, 4-3, 4-4, remember these are single stitches, 4-5, 4-6, and 4-7 go in the same stitch. So it should start to look something like that. And I have to keep pulling my yarn a little bit. So I'm going to do 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4, 5-5, and guess what? 5, 6, and 5, 7 go in the same stitch. Now, some of you may have already gone ahead of me and finished off that 6th row because you were with me for the first series. But I'm going to fool you, I'm going to trick you, because you're going to have to take that out. Because what we're going to do here is we're going to create the sheep's fur, the puff stitch. So what you need to do for this last row is going to be a sheep's, the top of the sheep's right above the eyes, the little puffer that comes out. And you're going to go into the stitch just like you would to go do your stitch. When you bring it back through, wrap it around, pull it through, and then wrap it around again and pull it through. And I'm going to do that again because I did it really loose and it wasn't really the way I wanted it to look. So it might be a little tighter this time and harder to follow, but you pull it through and kind of hold your yarn so it doesn't really rock back and forth on your crochet hook. Go through again, pull it through. You should have 4 on there. Wrap it around, go through again. So now if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so you have 6 on there. You wrap it around and you're going to pull that through all of those. So that creates what's called a little puff stitch. Then you do a chain 1. When you go through again, you're going to do the same thing. And you're going to wrap it around, and then when you come back, you're going to wrap that around twice and then pull it through. And you should always have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on your hook. Chain 1. I went ahead and did a slip stitch on series 1, and that slip stitch ended up being kind of a little bit of a bump out there. We're going to finish up the whole thing, the last of the stitches here, 1, 2, 3, with a puff stitch. It's not a big, huge puff stitch. If you wanted a big one, you could continue to keep wrapping. And that's my last stitch there. And chain. And there you go. That's kind of going to be your sheep's. We're not done, but we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the next one. And as we work around this next one, we're going to start our counting again. But as we count now, we're going to count 8. So we did 7 in the last round, and now we're going to count 8. So it's going to be, and you're going to start in that first stitch. You're going to do a single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 will be in the same stitch. 2, 1, 2, 2 in the next one, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, and 2, 7, and 2, 8 are in the same stitch. The reason we're adding one every time we go around is we want to keep this potholder rather flat. And if we don't keep it flat, we won't have a potholder. It'll just be growing like a basket. So if you want to make a basket, you don't have to keep adding that one. But if you want to make it flat, you have to add the one. So now we're in our third round. 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 7, 3, 8, 4, 1. Remember, 3, 7, and 3, 8 go in the same stitch. 4, 2, 4, 3 is the next stitch. 4, 4 is the next stitch. 4, 5 is the next stitch. 4, 6 is the next stitch. 4, 7, and 4, 8 go into the same stitch. Now we're on 5, 1. I pulled that through too hard. 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5 in the next stitch too, 5, 6 in the next stitch. And then remember, 5, 7, and 5, 8 go into the next stitch. And 5, 8. Now you've got these challenging puff stitches, but remember you did your chains. So what you're going to do for this puff stitch, you're not working through both of the loops. Once you've come around at the puff stitch, you've done your 5th row, you're going to take the back loop and just do a single crochet. So just using the back loop only. Back loop only. Remember, the front loop you don't want to touch because you want that front loop there because we're going to add some additional hair in video 3. So you want to make sure that you're just taking the back loop because we need that front loop. So if you've taken both the loops, just undo it. And if you find that some of your yarn doesn't get onto your crochet hook and you've missed some, well, you know the nice thing about it is you can just undo it and start again. I've had those days where I've just started from scratch all over again, a project, because I didn't like the way it looked. And sometimes you just don't like the way it looks, and then sometimes you amaze yourself because it turns out so beautiful. But once you have finished working those back loops only, you should be back around to where you started your counting. And if you want, you can go through the back and front loop where you started and just slip stitch. So if you slip stitch, so this is where you should be right now with that. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, now that we finished that little, I don't know why that little puff stitch looks funny, but we'll fix that. We're going to go ahead and do a total. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to do a total of 12 of stitches. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add 9. We're going to add 3 more rows. And the way you're going to add 3 more rows is doing exactly what you were doing. with your counting. So we're going to do 1. We did 7 and 8 in the last row, so you're going to go all the way out to 8, and you're going to do 8 and 9 in the last row. So you do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 go in the last row together. So see that last stitch again. So now what you're going to do is count 2 and 1, unless you've put a place marker, that's fine too. 2 and 1, 2 and 2 in the next, 2 and 3 in the next, 2 and 4 goes in the next stitch, 2 and 5 in the next stitch, 2 and 6 in the next stitch, 2 and 7 in the next stitch, 2 and 8 and 2 and 9 are in the same stitch. 3 and 1, 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 3 and 4, 3 and 5, 3 and 6, 3 and 7, 3 and 8, 3 and 9, 4 and 1, 4 and 2, 4 and 3, 4 and 4, 4 and 5, 4 and 6, 4 and 7, and 4 and 8, and 4 and 9 go in the same stitch. Remember, they go in the same stitch because it's starting to slightly curl, and I think the reason, again, I added that extra single row in there, but I like it to come up just a little bit anyways, because you'll see what I mean when you start adding some of the sheep's fur to this project. So go ahead and I'm going to finish off this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 and 8 go in the last one together. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9 go together. Now, this is where the counting gets a little bit fuzzy, because this row now, because of the puffer stitch, we have a couple of extra stitches that were added because of this puffer. So what I do to get back to where I've started is I'm simply going to go ahead and do single stitches. And if you did a place marker, you'll see what I mean. Now I did a chain 1, and that's why I can tell where I left off, which is right here. Or you can do the counting, and if you did the counting like I did too, you can see, well, there's some extra stitches there. So you want to get back to where you were with those extra stitches. And now we've got the 10 rows, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got the 10 rows. And we're going to go to row 11. But remember, we're only counting to 10 now because we did a single crochet row in here. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and what? 9 and 10 go where? In the same stitch. So when you do 9 and 10 around, so now we're going to do 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2, 8, 2, 9, and 2, 10 go in the same. 3, 1 is a single in the next. 3, 2 is a single in the next. 3, 3 is a single in the next. 3, 4 in the next. 3, 5 in the next. 3, 6. 3, 7. 3, 8. And 3, 9 and 3, 10 go into what? The same stitch. 3, 10. So we did 3, 10, so we have 3 more to do. So we're going to do 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 6, 4, 7, 4, 8, and 4, 9 and 4, 10 go what? Into the same stitch. We're coming back around pretty quickly. It's going to look really nice. So 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, 8, and what? 5, 9 and 5, 10 go into the same stitch. And now we're on our last one, 6. And we're going to do that around 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 6, 8, and 6, 9 and 6, 10 go where, folks? In the same stitch. 6, 9 and 6, 10 go in the same stitch. So we're almost there. We've got, if you put a stitch marker, you've got a few more stitches, so just bring it back around to where you started. A couple of single crochets. I have, I think, a few stitches to get back to where my stitch marker would have been if you placed yours. So this is the fur, the top of the head, which I'm going to show you how to do that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to have some fun. We're going to increase the puff, because remember, sheep are woolly and fluffy and have all kinds of puffiness. So now the stitch is going to change. So as you come back around, I think I had one more stitch here. I'm gonna slip stitch to the beginning, because that helps me. I don't like using place markers, but please, whatever works for you, do whatever works for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do what's called a double crochet. And we're going to do a double crochet, 2 of them in the next stitch. So we're going to do a double crochet, and it will puff out like that. And I will show you how to fix that. But what you're going to do is you're going to do a double crochet all the way around, and 2 of them in each stitch. See? That's what's going to give your... Now, I've made it different ways. I've done it with what I do a puff stitch, but I think that this double crochet will give you a really nice effect. And if you don't know how to do a double crochet, I do have a video on that, but why don't I do that right now with you guys so you can see that. So 2 double crochet in each one of these, and to do a double crochet, you wrap it around, you pull it through the back and the front loop, you pull it through, you have 3 on there, wrap it around, pull it through 2, and I'm going to do it again because, see, it's not grabbing all my yarn. So wrap it around, pull it through, wrap it around, and hold it tight so it grabs all the yarn. Pull it through the first 2, wrap it around, pull it through the second 2. When you're doing a double crochet, that can happen sometimes. If you're not holding it tight enough, you'll lose some of your yarn. Okay, so 2 double crochet in each of the single, and I will meet you back around after I am done, and we'll talk about where to go to next. Wrap it around. When you're pulling it through, you should have 3 on your hook, and then you pull it through the first 2 and then the second 2, and that is a double crochet. So you're pulling it through the first 2 and then the second 2. And it's giving it that frilliness that a sheep would have. Because until they get shaved, they're pretty puffy. Now, if you see where this is starting to curl, I want it that way because, again, I want to have that little frill. If you don't want as much of a kind of a turning twirl than like what I've got on mine, you can do 1 double crochet in one of the stitches and then 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochet. And then that will give it less of a frilly, raised look. And maybe you want it a little flatter. If you want to use it as a trivet instead of a pot holder, you are welcome to do that. Just do 1 double crochet in 1 and then 2. So I have chosen to give it this look. And there's many ways, like I said, many ways of finishing. One of the ones that I did was very cute. It was a very thick puff stitch, but I will tell you that the reason I've chosen this is because for beginners or for someone that is not really keen on doing puff stitches, it's a lot of work because the layers that you have to have on your crochet hook are pretty substantial in order to do a really, really nice puff stitch. And with the cotton, that can be very challenging. Have a little bit of a scratchy throat today. So, remembering that when I'm coming around, my hair is right here. And I think what I'm going to do is, because I'm already into this video for 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys finish this off with either the double crochet in each one of the stitches, or the other option is a double crochet in the first stitch, 2 in the second, 1 in the next, 2 in the second, 1 in the next, 2 in the second, and so on. And when you get to the end here, go ahead and slip stitch where you started from, and I will meet you back for part 3. Thank you.